What's going on, guys? Thank you for joining me today. Today's video is going to be about something that's been kind of weighing on me a little bit lately. Some questions that have been creeping up on my mind a bit, and I just wanted to get it off my chest. I wanted to talk about, is collecting physical media worth it? Is blind buying worth it? As you can see behind me, I own a lot of movies. Guys, let me tell you, there's a lot of unwatched movies back there. This Criterion shelf is full of them, full of movies I have yet to watch. Some movies have been sitting back here for at least 3 years, and I still haven't opened them. So I just wanted to share some things. Again, just things that I've been thinking about lately. Like, is all this money being spent worth it? Is buying movies that I've never seen worth it? Well, let me just start off by saying that I'm not going to sell off my collection. I'm not going to stop collecting physical media. I love my movies. They bring me joy. They bring me happiness. I love to collect, and I'm not stopping. But I do want to change how I collect and some of the habits that I've kind of developed as far as collecting. And I hope this is helpful for some of you that have been struggling with maybe something similar. And I know a lot of people collect differently. Like, people collect for different reasons. They collect in different ways. Like, I know that some people, they only buy used and they save a ton of money that way. Or, they wait for the sales. They only buy movies that they love. Or some people buy everything, every release, and that's fine. Like, people can buy whatever they want. It's their money, whatever makes them happy. I get it, but just for me and my situation in life, and my financial situation, my goals, things like that, I really want to kind of reevaluate how I'm collecting personally. So let me just kind of jump into an example. One of the reasons that prompted me into making this video is something that happened to me recently. And so Creed 3 just came out in theaters, and I had never seen Creed 1 and 2. Like, up until last week, I had never seen Creed 1 and 2. But I've owned them. I've owned part 1 and 2 on 4K for a couple of years, like since they were released on physical. So I had never seen them, and I figured, now's a good time. With Creed 3 out in theaters, I'll watch Creed 1 and 2 at home, and then I'll catch Creed 3 in theaters, hopefully. So the other day, I went ahead and put Creed Part 1 in my 4K player on my TV, and I watched it. It looked good. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a solid movie. I'm not like the biggest Rocky fan. I enjoyed Rocky, and Creed was fine. Am I gonna call it the best sports movie ever? Like, no, I'm not rushing to rewatch it anytime soon. So that's the first thing. Like, okay, I spent money on this movie, and when am I gonna watch it again? I'm not sure. Like, I maybe years down the road, whenever I want to rewatch the Rocky series, okay, I guess it'll come in handy then. But then Creed 2. It was time to watch Creed 2. And, that day when I was going to watch it, I was sitting in my living room, over there. And I was just scrolling through HBO Max. And I noticed that Creeds 1 and 2 are streaming on HBO Max. And I figured, wow, man, like, this whole time that I've owned these movies. Oh, and let me just mention also, like, I've moved throughout the years. Like, when I bought these movies, I lived in an apartment. And then I moved to a different apartment. And I brought those movies with me, obviously, and I still hadn't watched them. And then from that place, I moved to where I am now. And I brought those movies with me. And I still hadn't watched them. So these movies have been through like 3 different places. I've been hauling them everywhere I go throughout the years, and they've been unwatched. So to me, it's just like, God, like, how many of those movies how many of these movies back here have gone through the same thing? It's just crazy to me. But anyway, so I'm scrolling through HBO Max, and as I'm scrolling through HBO Max, I'm seeing movie after movie that I own. I'm like, man, I own this movie, and I own this movie, and this one. Like all these movies that I own, I could just watch on streaming. And I get the argument. You know, streaming is not as good quality wise. You got the buffering issues, you have the compression issues, and I get that. And I'm all for watching a movie in a good quality. But I ended up watching Creed 2 on HBO Max just because at the time it was more convenient to just stream it than to come to my room and put it on the player. And there was family with me, and I just to come to my room and put is in the living room was more convenient at the time. So I just put it on HBO Max and I watched it, and it looked good. Like I didn't have any issues with streaming that day, thankfully. And yeah, I mean, it was still an enjoyable movie. I was still able to follow the story and the visuals and the camera work, and the acting was good. I appreciated the movie. So the streaming quality was solid. You know, I was satisfied with the quality. So maybe I missed out on a couple of beads of sweat dripping down Michael B. Jordan's face, but that's okay. Like I can live with that. I was satisfied with the quality. Now, my issue is when am I gonna want to rewatch Creed 2? Like I might never want to rewatch it because I didn't love it. It was entertaining as a one time watch, but when will I want to revisit this movie? Maybe never. Maybe years down the road. And if years down the road I feel like rewatching Creed 2, it'll probably be on streaming. I mean, maybe not. But if it's not, like, it's okay. Like, am I going to want to watch Creed 2 that badly? I don't think so. Like, I don't think Creed 2 will be a priority on my watch list. I mean, there's classics that I haven't seen. There will be new releases at the time. There's TV shows coming out constantly. I don't know if Creed 2 will be something that I need to watch in that moment. So my point is holding on to this physical copy and taking it everywhere I move and keeping it on my shelf. Like, is it worth it? That's just one example. I guess this video is more about studio releases, like new studio titles that, they're gonna go down in price. They're available on streaming for the most part, because I'm not really talking about like Criterions and stuff like that, because I love Criterions. I love Criterion sales. I love blind buying during Criterion sales. It's how I discover movies. It's how I discover new movies. Dazed and Confused. That's a movie that I know it's very popular, but it's a movie that I hadn't seen until I bought the Criterion, and I loved it. Like, it instantly became one of my favorites. The other day I was watching The Apartment by Billy Wilder on Prime Video, and I was just thinking, like, man, I wish I was watching the 4K. Like, I wish I had this 4K. It's a classic movie that I hadn't seen, and I was just thinking, like, I wish I was watching this in the best quality possible on 4K, done by Kino Lorber. Like, man, like, in those instances, like, I love physical media. But when it comes to a newer modern release that already will look good on streaming, do I need to rush out and buy those titles? Well, if it's a movie I love, sure. If it's a movie that I'm going to rewatch, sure. Of course it's worth it. But if it's a blind buy, something I just picked up because the price was good, or something I picked up just because I wanted to watch it, I don't know if that's worth it to me anymore. And again, I'm not saying like don't blind buy. Like, I'm still gonna blind buy. Like I said, that's how I discover movies. If I'm interested in the director, the actors, the story, whatever the case may be, even the artwork. Like, sometimes I buy movies just because the steelbook is nice. But if it's something that I really, really want, and I know that I'm gonna be interested in, I'm still gonna blind buy it. But if it's a movie that I can hold off on, that I don't need in the moment, that I know will be on streaming, do I need to own it? No, I don't. I'll give you another example. This movie right here, Elysium. I saw this back in theaters like 10 years ago, and I enjoyed it at the time. I bought this 4K when it was released, full price, and it's been sitting on my shelf. I don't know when it came out. Maybe you guys know, but it's been a while. And I just watched it last night, and it wasn't that good, to be honest. I didn't love it. I was kind of bored. I didn't like it. So I have two 4Ks here, just random, not random, but just two 4Ks that I feel like if I didn't have them in my collection, I'd be fine. I don't need them. I'm not the kind of person that's going to be thinking like, well, what if I want to rewatch Elysium in 10 years and I'll like it? Like, to me, it's not worth holding on to it. So that if I might rewatch it in 10 years, like, it's not worth it to me. Because if I do one day feel like watching Elysium, I'm pretty sure it's going to be on streaming. And again, if it's not, I think I'll be all right. I think there will be other things to watch. And I save myself the money and I save myself the space on my shelf. I guess what I'm saying, guys, is, I still love collecting. To me, it's worth it. It really is, because movies are art. And I think it's important to preserve this artwork. But in my opinion, your collection should be a reflection of you and your interests. So I want the movies that I own to be a reflection of who I am and what I like, not just a bunch of random movies. I'm not interested in collecting or in having a freaking database of different movies, because I just don't have the room. I just don't have the money and the room to just collect everything. And some people do, and that's great. Like, that's awesome. I wish I did. But for my situation and for what I want in my collection, I want to be more selective. Okay, I want to be more selective. And again, I'm talking more like these studio title, like movies like this. I don't need to go out and buy full price 4Ks of Elysium or, the Creeds, stuff like that. Like, I can wait on those. Those are always on either Netflix or HBO Max or Prime Video, or worst case scenario, super, super cheap to rent. I want my collection to be films that I love and that I know I'm going to rewatch, or special editions, or like special box sets, limited edition type of things. I know those are more expensive, so I'd rather save my money for that. Or again, I love buying Criterions, so I'm not going to stop blind buying Criterions. I'm not going to buy every Criterion, but I'm going to buy the ones that I am really interested in checking out. And I'm not saying like I'm never going to blind buy a 4K again, but just one more example, like The Whale. The Whale just recently came out this past week, and I hadn't seen it. I still haven't seen it. And a couple of months ago, I probably would have gone out to buy The Whale. But not this week. I didn't buy it. And that's because I thought to myself, okay, it's this kind of like depressing movie from what I gather. I'll probably enjoy it. I'll probably enjoy Fraser's performance. I might come out with a new perspective on certain things in life. But then that's it. Like, The Whale doesn't seem like the type of movie that I would revisit. So I don't want to buy it to watch it once and then keep it on my shelf forever. Like, I'd rather just wait a little bit, watch it on streaming, because I'm already paying for those services. And if I love it, like if I end up loving it, then I can go out and buy it. But I just don't see the point in buying that right now. For me, wait till it comes out on streaming for this particular movie, for me, and I'll catch it when it comes out on streaming. My overall goal here, guys, and I know this probably sounds like a rant, and I apologize, but my overall goal here is to really save myself the space, okay, and save myself some money, not spend on just a bunch of stuff that's going to be sitting on my shelf for years and years and years. And then I also want my collection to be part of who I am. I don't like showing my movies and just being like, I haven't seen this and I haven't seen this and I haven't seen this. And again, that's part of the fun of collecting. It really is. But I just feel like I need to catch up a little bit. And then I can maybe slowly start buying a little bit more. And I'm still going to buy. Like, I'm still blind buying. I'm still collecting. I just bought like a new release last week. I'm not stopping, collecting physical media. But some things are going to change. There's going to be a minor shift in the way that I collect. So to answer the question, is collecting worth it? Yes, it is to me. Because I love my movies. I love seeing them on the shelf. I love watching them whenever I want. But that doesn't mean collect everything. That doesn't mean buy everything day one, full price. Unless it's like, you want that steelbook or you want that slipcover. Like, okay, fine. But at the end of the day, you're buying it for the movie. And it's a nice addition to have a slipcover, absolutely. But at the end of the day, as long as you're buying within your means, don't put yourself into debt to buy movies for a piece of cardboard. Is it worth blind buying? To me, it is as well, because that's how you discover some movies. Downside is you might not like the movie and you're stuck with it. And resale value of physical media is not that great. So what are you going to do? You're just going to keep it on your shelf if you don't like it, or you can try selling it. You might sell it. Okay, fine. Blind buying is worth it, but again, as long as you're smart about it, don't just blind buy everything. For me, what I'm going to try to do is, instead of blind buying everything, I'm only going to blind buy like during Criterion sales. And even then, I'm going to be a little bit selective. Or blind buy movies that just, and I'm a good judge of my interests. So I'm going to blind buy movies that I know or I feel that have rewatchability, or that I just love the director and I want to support their work, or the actors, the actresses, and I want to support their work. A special edition steelbook, stuff like that. But if it's something that I feel is like something that I might not go back to often, I'm going to wait. Catch it on streaming. And if I love it then I can go back and buy it. And hopefully it still has that slipcover or whatever. But that's it, guys. I just wanted to kind of get some things off my chest, just talk about like my collecting habits and some things that I want to change. And this is not like, I hope this didn't sound like I'm crapping on collectors or physical media. Like, I'm not. I love collecting. I love physical media. I love collectors. And I just want to share, like, just get this off my chest, because this is the way I've been feeling lately. And it was a little bit discouraging. It got to the point where I was thinking like, man, like, do I even need to be buying movies anymore? And I do want to buy movies, but I just want to change or tweak a few things. But let me know if you all have ever experienced anything like this, or if you are going through anything like this, or how do you collect? How do you collect? Why do you collect? Just let me know in the comments. Let's talk about it. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Thank you so much, and I hope you all have a great day. Thanks, and see you next time.